All right, to talk about the U.S. tariffs announcement by Donald Trump, which is supposed to come into effect from the 1st of August, and the Indian government's response today in the Parliament by the Commerce Minister. How to decode that? I'm joined by Ambassador Mohan Kumar, former senior diplomat. He's been our ambassador to France and Bahrain and is currently the Director General of the Motwani Jadeja Institute for American Studies at the Jindal Global University in the National Capital Region. Also, I have with me on the show Professor Sachin Chaturvedi. He's the Vice Chancellor of Nalanda University. He's also the Director General of Research Information Systems for Developing Societies. Thank you both gentlemen for being on the show. Ambassador Kumar, to begin with you first, we heard what the government said today, saying that we're looking into the implications of what Trump's announced, but assuring the House and the nation through the House that they will do everything to protect India's interest. What should we make of Trump's tariff tactic and India's posture?
Thank you very much for having me. I think President Donald Trump is playing hardball, and he's playing hardball not just with India, he's playing hardball with Canada. You saw the reaction in the European Union. They believe that they have not got a good deal. So there are a number of countries. So in that sense, I would like viewers in India to see the problem in its holistic perspective. This is a negotiating style he has brought to the table, not just vis-a-vis India, but with other countries. The second point I'd like to make is that this is an important relationship, whichever way you look at it. So as far as we are concerned, we are going to treat it as an important relationship. We will continue to negotiate in good faith. What we would like is a balanced, fair, and mutually advantageous deal. And that is what we are looking for. The Commerce Minister and the government have also made it clear that while you can make compromises with regard to dollars and cents, you cannot play around with the livelihoods of farmers, whether it is agriculture farmers, dairy farmers, or small or medium entrepreneurs. So subject to that livelihood issue, as I call it, which is, I think, vital. I think in all other areas, we will continue to negotiate. And frankly, having done trade negotiations for 10 years in Geneva, I don't see this as a very unusual thing to happen. Invariably, when you have tough negotiations, there comes a point when negotiations break down. That happens in every single trade negotiation. And then if parties can meet again, talk things through, then I think it's fine. You will have some kind of a deal down the road. But for now, I think the government says we continue to negotiate. We have vitally important interests to protect, which we will protect. But we also realize that talks will go on, and we are happy to do that with a view to getting a fair and balanced and mutually advantageous deal.
Okay. Let me bring in Sachin Chaturvedi here. Mr. Chaturvedi, the government says it's negotiating. It wants what it calls a fair, balanced and mutually beneficial bilateral trade agreement. And negotiations for that have been going on for the last few months. Then why did Trump have to do this? Ambassador Kumar says this is not unusual. But if this is not unusual, isn't he acting tough really? This doesn't look mutually beneficial. I mean, the deal's first stage could have been completed by, say, September, October, or even November. He could have waited, given more time.
Amritpalji, what Dr. Mohan Kumar just now said, I largely agree in terms of there is a term which is used for negotiating space adjacent to the room in which negotiations are happening, and that's called green room. So what is happening now is that the new administration in the US has opened up the green room for wider media speculation and bringing in a sort of psychological game. I think our popular media, our popular commentaries, they should have now restraint in terms of seeing how things are panning out. Quite a few of these are games which are on, which are tactical, and we need not immediately give in terms of what has happened. What is actually tactical positioning? What is pressure creating situation? So I think we need to have restraint in terms of seeing how things are panning out. What are the issues that are on table, and to what extent US would go. See, a large part of our exports to US has issues which are related to and fall into the category of direct consumer consumption. So the consumer consumption, if is facing large duties, it is going to be counterproductive to the US administration itself, which is going to face a huge inflation crisis. Unlike many other countries which are into capital goods and other dimensions of imports which do not matter to consumers directly. So this issue is something that US administration realizes very well. From our own perspective, if you see the trends that have picked up, and I think Commerce Ministry has very wisely now started leveraging strength of Indian economy, Atmanirbhar Bharat, and dimensions of our macro economic management and bringing in production sector in a very strong manner. We are clear in terms of how we can be part of global value chains. We are leveraging free trade agreements, and UK is a very clear example, but so was UAE and Australia. We are also showing a greater willingness for more FTAs. So I think we should leverage diversification of the market. We should leverage the strength of the consumer preferences in the US market. And I'm sure as things would move later in the middle of August, you would find that position would change very fast.
That's an interesting point that you raise. Ambassador Kumar, is then India also leveraging that, or signaling to Trump that, look, if you don't want to trade with us or I get too difficult, we are looking at reducing our dependency of trade with you. We have the rest of the world to trade, by listing out these various agreements that have happened in the recent past in today's statement?
I think India's foreign and trade policy is well known to the Americans. They know we buy oil from Russia. They know we are in the middle of
they are miffed with us because of that. He's miffed with us because of that.
We are also negotiating a free trade agreement with European Union. We are negotiating a free trade deal with other countries, so they know that. I don't think we need to tell United States anything. I would suggest we treat this relationship on its own merit. Tell the Americans that these are the red lines. It's difficult for a country like India to put the agriculture farmers, dairy farmers, and small and medium entrepreneurs' livelihoods at stake. Aside of this, we are happy to negotiate on everything else. That's the position I would take. Of course, I've left the government long ago, so I don't know exactly what is going on. But it seems to me it's better to tell the United States your position, what your red lines are. But the last point I would like to make is that any trade negotiation, and like I said, my experience in Geneva, artificial deadlines never help. The Uruguay round was supposed to be concluded in 4 years. It went on to be concluded in 8 years. You take our own FTA with the European Union. We were supposed to conclude it long back, but we haven't yet concluded. UK began long back, and with Boris Johnson, we told him we will conclude by Diwali, except that we didn't tell which Diwali. So we have finally concluded it. That is what I mean when I say all trade negotiations are tough. They go down to the wire. Invariably, they will break down. Then negotiators will regroup and then get together. So I agree with Professor Sachin Chaturvedi. Further down the road, we will see what happens. But I don't think we should avoid doing two things. One, we should avoid looking at this like a doomsday scenario. It's not a catastrophe.
Okay.
Second, I would say don't react emotionally. I've seen some WhatsApp groups in which people are hyperventilating and saying we have been insulted. our ego. There is nothing like that. In trade negotiations, it is your hard national interest that is at stake. Don't react emotionally, don't have false deadlines, and don't say never to never.
Okay.
Just continue to talk and do it in a manner that is transparent to your own audience. Establish your red
I,
line and try to make compromises in other
Yeah,
areas.
in my assessment, I think that's what the strategy the government is taking. I mean, it's given a very measured response to Donald Trump's bombast. Their strategy is, okay, we've taken note of it. But let's, Professor Chaturvedi, try and understand the implications of this. What impact this announcement of 25% tariff, which comes into effect from tomorrow, would have on the Indian economy?
See, Amritpalji, we should think of broad sectors and their classification in terms of how we see the absorptive capacity of different sectors. As I said earlier, pharmaceutical sector is the key one where as absorptive capacity is extremely high. The fact that demand has multiplied and our total exports, almost $26 billion export, is of consumable products. And out of that, you find a large section is where our industry can absorb additional tariff. And don't forget that our competitors are also facing enhanced tariff. So the products that we were selling at X, it is now XX, but it is also X plus for others. It may not be same. So we were not in competition with EU, which is at 15%, or Japan, which is at 15%, but we are with other exporters of products like China, like Vietnam, who have entered in the scenario related to subcomponents of pharmaceutical sector. So there you find that you are not completely out of competition. So I think those sectors where the chunk of $26 billion is lying, we are fairly well placed. The issue would come up in processed agriculture products, which is $6 to $9 billion, the way you calculate. So $6 to $9 billion is something that you are going to face severe competition with markets which are also engaged in similar products. So what we have done at my institute is to do product-wise calculation and the competitive scenario that is there. So what we are seeing is that a large impact you can avoid at this stage in terms of where exactly it would go and the new opportunities which are creating in its impact on Indian economy.
So what
US exports, yes, to some extent, definitely.
So, Professor, what sectors are we going
to be able to minimize that?
Professor, what sectors are we going to take a hit in?
So I would say that automobile parts and components certainly would be an area where we would have a challenge. We would also have processed food sector, which would face heat in the market. Third are some chemical products, and there we compared the unit cost of our products vis-a-vis other markets, given the kind of tariffs they have been exposed to. So these four sectors we are feeling are going to face specific challenges.
Okay. Good that you broke it down. Ambassador Kumar, if we look at Donald Trump calls India the tariff king. But if we look closely at the data, it shows that India's weighted average tariff on US imports is on many products under 5%. If you say the simple average tariff is about 17% actual duties on key American imports, but the weighted average tariff is much below 5%, and the US on its part also imposes very high tariffs. This is according to WTO data. It imposes high duties on items such as dairy products, 200%, fruits and vegetables, 132%, cereals and food preparations, 196%, fats and oils, 164%, and so on and so forth. Beverages and tobacco, 350%. So, where is Donald Trump coming up with this, that India is a huge tariff king?
So let me explain. You should not also defend everything. At the end of the day, we have to also accept where we have to change. I think the one issue that I would highlight is our tariffs have been changing, and security and predictability of tariffs is important. You cannot change it every 2 budgets or every 3 budgets. That's the first thing. I'm not defending the American position. You ask me a question, I'm responding to it objectively. So that is the first. People want tariff levels to remain the same. The second thing is, just don't go by the basic tariff. There are also issues with regard to special additional duties and some other duties. So these 2 categories have to be added to your tariff. That's the second. Last but not least, we have introduced a whole lot of certification requirements for products and services coming into India. Those certification requirements are proving to be onerous for our trading partners. So you are right. We don't have to necessarily accept when somebody calls us the tariff king, but I think it is in our interest to simplify the tariffs, make the tariffs predictable and secure so that the traders know exactly how much they have to pay, and finally get rid of some non-tariff barriers like certification requirement. So those reforms, we can use this opportunity, in my view, to carry out those reforms so that it becomes simple for our traders to trade in India.
All right. And also, I mean, negotiate on the tariff, on the trade deal. Okay, I'm totally out of time, but Professor Chaturvedi, I cannot let go of both of you without asking this. Tariffs is one part. The other thing that he said was the penalties on buying, on defense and energy ties with Russia. What kind of penalties is he hasn't specified that, and what impact would that have on one, okay, Professor Chaturvedi, to you, on the India-US relation, and Ambassador Kumar on India-Russia relationship. First, Professor Chaturvedi, you please.
Thank you. Thanks, Anpalji. I think as has been explained amicably well by our Petroleum Minister Hardeep Puri umpteen times in terms of how we see this bandwidth for countries like India, as in when they have entered in the global oil market, the prices have badly affected interests of small countries because we are such large consumers. So it has to be appreciated by US that India, buying it from multiple sources, including from Russia, it is helping stabilize the global oil prices. So we play a very important role in terms of stabilizing global prices, and this has to be explained to them. Okay. How it affects the Indian interest in terms of the tariff going to combine with this penalty, that is to be seen. The specific details are missing as of now. It's not clear in what way it would be translated, what products it would include in. And if you recall, India has consistently enhanced US and US has agreed in terms of huge demand that India has to enter in the Russian market. So it has happened with the consent of the US in the past.
All right. Ambassador Kumar, on the India-US relationship, which is far wider than trade. I mean, it's a comprehensive strategic partnership.
You mean the India-Russia relationship?
Okay, India-Russia relationship. Yes, India-Russia, sorry.
But in any case, because Professor Chaturvedi already spoke
about the American. Yes.
So let me address the India-Russia relationship. We have a legacy relationship with Russia. We have been following a policy of strategic autonomy and independence. My view is, if we get cheaper petrol or cheaper crude oil than what Russia is supplying, we will very happily buy it. I don't think we are wedded to buying oil just from Russia. The fact that we don't want to put all eggs in one basket means if US or somebody else can sell us cheaper crude oil, we'll very happily shift. Because I think what people have to understand is that India's economy is poised at a critical stage. We cannot let down the people who live below the poverty line. And that is important for us to consume. As Professor Chaturvedi said, we are huge consumers of petrol and crude oil. So I think the economic basis is very sound, and that needs to be understood.
And that needs to be conveyed to the Americans as well. And given that Donald Trump is a businessman, I'm sure he would be practical. He's just using this as a trade, as a negotiating tactic before, the deal is signed. I thank both gentlemen, Ambassador Mohan Kumar and Professor Sachin Chaturvedi, for taking out time and lending us your insights. Thank you.